Incredible afternoon. Ooh. Good afternoon. Alrighty, hold on one second. Let's see. All right. Had to change my privacy, had to share it out. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing I have to do. Hold on. Okay. And hold on, y'all. Hold on one second. One second. All right. There we go. So I had to share this out. All right. Hopefully you guys share it as well. This is going to be a good one. I did not, it's not on my regular YouTube like Sillaholics Anonymous or Honestly Speaking, although this is an honest moment, but I'm trying to keep that channel to the product line and use my 365 Creative Academy platform for discussion such as this. Although I do share it, my Sillaholics Anonymous page on Facebook is actually going to be changed to, Talks with Shakia the Professor, because that's like my just general open page. All right. But we're going to talk a little bit about business and understanding the responsibility of running a business, and are you actually ready for that? As well as kind of elaborate a little on a post that I made recently about the cost of a particular substrate for, well, putting into perspective of like those who make shirts and sell shirts and custom shirts and things like that. So we're going to talk a little bit about business. All right. So, how are you guys doing? I am Shakia, the professor of 365 Creative Academy, Sillaholics Anonymous, HS Inc. 365 LLC, which is the parent company of the product line, Honestly Speaking, HS Inc. Prints, HS Inc. Designs, HS Inc. Digital. We have a lot of entities that fall under our LLC. And I am someone that's been in business for a while, just very, very well. So much so that when the pandemic, when the pandemic hit and what was considered our bread and butter for our family, which was my husband's job as a director, was, kind of snatched away because there was no more. There was at the time there was no professional sports going on, and he works at a professional sports facility. Now that they're back, he has. It's been so great for us to where he didn't even have to think about going back and working those crazy, crazy, crazy hours that was there. And we have not missed a beat as far as uh, the income to take care of our household, to take care of, to run a business has not skipped a beat. We have not been without, and have actually made more in this venture than when we were working separately. So I think I'm pretty, successful at running a business. Now, there's always things that we're learning every day. Part of this, when it came to like talking about the responsibility of running a business, even came to me today because he's our CFO. He takes care of all financial things. And there are times because, before this was a side hustle for me. Like I said, his job was our bread and butter. It is what really took care of all bills. Everything that I made was to save for our children. It was our play money when we went on vacation. We never had to touch any of the funds that came from a that was on a pay stub for his particular job. All of our vacation money came from the things that I did, whether it was classes, selling of different custom products, saving for our children's future, all the miscellaneous stuff, always eating out, like all. I did a live before, and I said, "Do you know what your purpose is and what you're trying, and what you're doing as far as your business?" At the time, the purpose of what I did in my business wasn't to take care of my family in a sense of our everyday needs. It was to take care of our future and to secure the future for our children. It was for all of the miscellaneous things when we wouldn't wanted to go out for dinner. We didn't swipe the card that the paychecks went to. It was the card that was the separate one, that business funds and paying myself and all that stuff. It went to that. So it's you have to know what your purpose is. I wasn't worried about making, six figures or a million or seven figures and all of that and what I was doing, because I was satisfied in the purpose that that time, like the business, what it served, the money that was coming in. Did it meet the needs of what I needed it for? And it did. So I never really stressed about it. But once we got to a point to where uh it needs to be bread and butter now because we don't have that other income. Everything that I did before and preparing for this, I was able to go from having a quote unquote side. To me, I operated like a side hustle. I did what I wanted. I kept track of certain things, but not quite keeping track of certain things, like how a true business is run. In my mind, it's like, okay, it's my business. I do what I want to do. It was more of a side hustle. And then now that we are a business, we are a company, we are building an empire. The way that I thought before, we can't think about those things. Like, I can't think that way now. There's a different responsibility when you decide that you want to run a business, and you have to decide if you are ready for that responsibility of running a business. And hopefully this doesn't come off harsh, but some of you guys are not ready for that. And it simply just needs to be a side hustle that's going to make you some little pocket change. But of course, do it in a way to where, you take care of your taxes so you don't get caught up and have to pay back a bunch of money. But a lot of people are not ready for the responsibility of running a business. So often, I'll go and I'm not thinking about certain things that I might go and buy or purchase, even though it's for the business. I'm using the business card. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, it'll be in the email somewhere. They'll email me a receipt. Well, there's a $312 charge that we cannot figure out where in the heck it's coming from. And our bookkeeper's like, look, ma'am, sir, I need y'all to figure out, because y'all holding my job up to make sure that all this stuff is ready for tax season for y'all to go ahead and turn it over to the accountant to go ahead and do your taxes. But I cannot categorize this because nobody know where this came from. And I don't know where it came from because the charge just says Shopify. It's not for our Shopify. It is saying that we paid somebody else's Shopify $312, and I don't know where it went or what it was for. So of course the CFO comes and is like, look, ma'am, I'm gonna need you from now on to put in a purchase order. I'm gonna need you to write down and make sure that you are letting me know exactly what you were ordering on what day and what it is for. And I'm just like, what? See, you're doing too much now. Now that's more work. Like I just like to see it. I want it for the business. It's somehow, some way for the business. Let me go ahead and just swipe or go ahead and put in that credit card number and just cha-ching, go ahead, check out, let me get it. So the CFO says, ma'am, that's not how businesses work. And you making it harder for the bookkeeper. You're making it harder for me. I'm gonna need you to basically run all purchases through this department. Okay. So now I have to change my mindset before I go and go clickety click, click, clack. It's almost like him wanting to pull out. It's like he's like, that's how we had to do when we were at the arena. Someone goes and pays for something, they got to bring us back this, and we have to reconcile it and do this and mark it, code it as this. And I'm just like, oh gosh, that was at the arena. Like, this is nope, because we have bookkeepers. They can't do their job if we don't do our job. We're making their job harder, which makes it harder for us. So I got to put my big girl panties on and be a responsible business owner and listen to the CFO and make sure that basically we're going to end up having a process where anything that we purchase is basically going to go through a PO. And my brother, where he works at, he does receiving, and he says the same thing. He was like, look, you don't understand, when people don't have a purchase order, it makes it so much harder because he does receiving. And so things like everyone just sends their stuff there. So when it comes into the warehouse, he has to figure out where it's going, match it up with the purchase order. Somebody just don't purchase some of whatever. Sometimes people just have their personal stuff coming to the job because they're afraid of porch pirates. But then when it's coming in and they have to send it to where it needs to go, it becomes a problem. So having conversations like that with people who are in other industries also helps you as a business owner. What are you inputting? What are you inputting into your system, into your brain about running a business? I look at like, as now that we are like a full-fledged business, I'm not gonna say business, a full-fledged company. I look at everything through the scope of running a business. And when you start to do that, things become a lot clearer. When it comes to seeing how business runs and how much money goes into certain things, you start to not give a damn what people say about your prices, because it is what it is. If you like it, you don't, because I can't sacrifice my being able to pay my overhead because you can't afford it or don't want to pay for it. So your issue with the cost has nothing to do with me. That's something that you have to deal with, and whether or not you want to pay what I'm telling you it costs. If you don't, it's okay. We can agree that this, as a business or as a business transaction, just will not happen. You are more than welcome to exit stage left and go shop with someone else. But over here at HS Inc. Designs, HS Inc. Prints, the price is the price, and we are not budging. Over here at HS Inc., or honestly speaking, HS Inc. 365, shop.hsinc365.com. No, we do not offer any current discounts. We don't have to offer discounts. No, we don't offer a free shipping once you reach a certain amount, because that is not in line with what our business does. Oh, well, why do your chips cost way more than this person? Because my overhead is different. How much I pay for them is different. If you would like to go over there and pay for the chips for the 812 cartridges, and take a week to get them, sure. If you would like to go over there to where when you have an issue, they can't really answer your questions. You have no way of communicating really with them other than just an inbox or email. You can't really call them. Go ahead, do that. But see, over here, that price comes with some knowledge. That price comes with help. That price comes with customer service. That price comes with getting your order shipped out same day if you order by 3 p.m. See, their business is not my business. I don't run it the same way. They might be able to charge that price because they don't have overhead. But see, here over at HS Inc. 365 LLC, we have a whole lot of expenses. We have staff. So we have workers' comp and liability insurance and property insurance. Because if you don't know, when you go and you get that little quote, which, lesson learned over here, when you get that, you think you're getting business insurance. It's just the liability insurance. So in case somebody wanted to sue you, something happened, but all this lovely paper and ink and equipment and heat presses and uh, uh, Roland printers and Epson printers and Rolo printers and all this other lovely stuff, all of the packing boxes, all of the poly mailers, the this, the that, the gum tape dispenser, all of those things. God forbid if anything should happen to our home or happen to the warehouse that stuff is in. Oh, honey, if you don't have property insurance, it is not going to be covered and it's all going up in smokes. People like to talk about business like business insurance and they talk about liability, but they don't talk about all that other stuff. See, we have real overhead over here. So what we charge, I cannot speak for anybody else. What I charge for a shirt, being the fact that all those things still kind of fall under that HS Inc. designs and all that. We have certain expenses that have to be paid every single month. How I come online and talk to you guys on StreamYard, oh, they want their money every year. Well, I decided to pay them by the year. My storage, my cloud storage fees, oh, we got to pay those. Retainer fees for lawyers and stuff, oh, we got to pay those. Bookkeeping fees, we have to pay those. So, yeah, my responsibilities as a business owner might look a little different from yours. So, my prices might look a little different from yours. Me selling shirts now looks a whole lot different when I was selling shirts 2 years ago when I didn't have all of these business responsibilities. Therefore, I cannot think about the price the same way. I have to think about everything that is that it takes to run this business and making sure that those things are taken care of and that they are paid for. So, are you ready? Are you ready for the responsibility of being a business owner? Because it's a whole lot more involved than just going and looking on a site, figuring out what shirt you're gonna buy. How much is this shirt? Okay, well, this costs too much. I want to go ahead. I'm looking for a polyester shirt that costs 50 cents because I want to make more money on off of this shirt. It's a whole lot more than that. How much does this tumbler cost? How much does I'm gonna, let's see, let's take a whole other business. Um, let's see. I have someone in my crib business candles. How much do these vessels cost? How much does the label cost? How much does the wick cost? How much does the wax cost? How much does the fragrance cost? If you make soaps, all the different supplies, all of your double boilers and your pitchers and stuff to melt and pour and all of that, it becomes a whole lot more than that, than what goes into the cost of running business. I know someone, her home, and I'll say about 60% of the things that she supplied for her business came from a booster. So she was all right with the prices that she chose to charge for her stuff because it really wasn't costing her any money. It was all profit for her, or not that much because it all came from a booster who was getting this stuff dilly dally for five finger discount. So when someone's looking, well, dang, how can she charge that much? It cost me da 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 da. Well, it cost her darn near zero. So for her, it's a little bit different. You never know what it takes for someone's business, right? I have somebody else that I don't like to say the word coach, but I'm finding myself there where it's more of like a coach, and we kind of have these little business chats, and I check in, I call them check-ins. So professor check-ins. And in order for her to run her business, part of that expense is her being a single parent with a child with disabilities. She has to cover a child care outside of the normal like day in childcare. In order for her to get her job done, she has to have childcare. Whether it's a family member, is she paying for them to eat, or she gonna pay for them to watch her child and keep her child entertained? If it's different things she has to pay for. So for her, we have discussed the fact that, baby, that's part of your business expense, because you can't do anything if you are not able to work, because you have to tend to your child that has special needs. So in order for you to do your job, you have to cover that daycare and that childcare while you are working. So that means your prices need to reflect the fact that you have to hire quote unquote staff to take care of your little, so that you can do your job. Everybody's business is going to look different in what their overhead is, right? So there is so I made a post, right? And so I see that, she said, I'm here. So she was like, well, I'm confused by this post, or I'm not sure it's she or he, because are you saying this is right or wrong? I've never said anything was right or wrong. So I saw someone in another group, and it was just like, oh my God, why are polyester shirts so expensive? Um, I can't make a profit with these shirts costing this much. And I'm just like, why not? Are you not factoring that in? Yes, but when I was just selling the regular cotton shirts cost me da da da, and these polyester shirts cost X, Y, and Z. Okay, so are we charging the same amount for the shirt that like? So if it takes more to make now, like now that you're into sublimation, if you feel like it takes more to make this shirt compared to what you were doing before, why are we charging the same amount? And she was like, oh, that does make sense. But my customers are used to me charging, like, before I was always charging $15 for birthday shirts, whatever. So now I wanted to be able to do my birthday shirts this way instead of. And I went up like $10, and they don't want to. So is that a you problem, or is that a them problem? So if your old customers don't want to pay the new price based off of the new way that you're doing it, I'm gonna suggest you go and you find new customers, because you're never going to be able to satisfy them. So you're always going to feel like you're not making money because this shirt costs more. So that post was to say, if you have to pay more and you feel like, okay, I'm not making a profit, and because you paid more for a shirt, oh, this shirt is more expensive than cotton. If you are not pricing it based off of the profit that you want to make, or what it takes to make, or what it takes to run your business, then you are not charging enough. There is no right or wrong. And I made another post after, and that was just some of the things I was kind of thinking off of the dome about our overhead. But you may have somebody that's just, this is just I'm a crafter, and this is extra money for me. This is mad money for me. So if a shirt, like they're gonna take a look at it when they're pricing and say, okay, so I saw someone say I charge 2.5 the cost like of what it makes. And I'm just like, whoo child, you definitely need to get in my creative business, because that's just not gonna fly. But some people will do it that way, and they're like, okay, if it costs me $5 to make this shirt, with all the supplies, the shirt, the vinyl, the this, the that, I'm gonna charge 15. I'm gonna charge $20. So I'm making X, Y, and Z, and they're okay with that. So from that 15, whatever it takes care of, maybe they're still commingling funds. They don't have it separate to where business is on one side and your personal finances, and they don't have it separate. They see it all as one. When they go and they get a big job, hey, I just got an order for 20 shirts, and my profit is going to be enough for me to get them bundles, or for me to get that lace front wig, that melted lace. Hey, I'm good. They're not thinking about the business side and then having to buy more supplies and upgrade their equipment. They are living for the now. So if your business right now is for you to make ends meet, if it is to cover your luxury items such as nice hair, nice clothes, getting you some red bottoms, if you're doing an order and like if you're trying to close a deal on an order because that money is to pay for a specific thing and that's how you want to operate, that is on you. You have to be comfortable with running your business that way if that works for you. And it might work in the interim. And then as you want to grow, you're going to have to make certain changes. So how you started off as being a quote unquote crafter and making money from it because someone told you, hey, you're really good at this. I want one of these. I'm willing to pay you for this. So we automatically think, okay, let's start a business because one or two people said, hey, I'm willing to pay for this because they understood the value. But then when you go into it, you're not looking and you're not marketing to that person that understands the value. So because that one person or two people understood the value of what you're doing and said, hey, I want to pay you for this. I like this. You're like, okay, well, shoot, if they gonna pay, everybody else gonna pay too. But who you are marketing to and who you are speaking with on a daily through social media or just telling about your business are people who don't value it. They are people who are not going to pay those prices. They did not tell you, hey, I like this, I want to pay for it. You're trying to push this on them, and then you get a little upset when they don't want to pay your price, because you didn't establish who you were making these things for to begin with. Who was your customer avatar? Is it someone that has disposable income? Is it somebody who's buying out of convenience? Is it someone who is buying out of necessity? When you did not take the time to establish that before you said, I'm going to run a business, you were not being very responsible in starting a business. Are you ready for the responsibility of running a business? And part of that responsibility is knowing who you are selling to. Are they going to buy into what you're selling? Can they afford it? Do they see the value in what you do? It does not matter what the next person is charging. Clothes are clothes. The clothes that are sold at Walmart cover the same body parts as the clothes that are sold at Nordstrom's and Neiman Marcus and all these other places. They do the same thing. They cover up your body part so that you don't get arrested for indecent exposure. But the value of it is different in where you are going to go purchase it at. I always go back to this YouTube, or actually, no, I think they did on the news, where they took a Payless and basically put it in this like ritzy area. It's like all these Payless shoes. They gave it some little fancy name outside and all this other stuff, but it was essentially Payless shoes. And every rich person in there, oh my gosh, these are just lovely. Oh my God, just so quality made. And I would pay way more for this. Baby, these are Payless shoes and they cost $25. No way. Oh my gosh. It's all about perception. If you are marketing your business and you are only putting yourself in position and you want to just deal with those who are in your community and you know they don't have the funds to pay for luxury items, contrary to what people always say, okay, I have a luxury brand. I'm providing a luxury this or a luxury that. For a lot of people, just buying a $15 shirt is a luxury. It is not something that is a part of their budget. They might be living paycheck to paycheck. Hell, they might be living past paycheck to paycheck, but their child's birthday is coming up. And it's like, I would like to be able to get a shirt. But we go and it's like, okay, well, shoot, you can't afford me. You broke, just say that. That is just, I'm a single parent. So who are you marketing to? See, when I was doing certain things, I priced and marketed to to those who didn't have a lot of disposable income, where when they saw something as simple as getting a shirt, it was considered a luxury. I worked and I was a cheer coach, and to see some of my cheerleaders to where something as simple as paying the $5 for their meal, for their after game meal was a lot for certain parents. So when we go and we have cheer packages, They cannot afford certain things, but they still want their child to be in extracurricular activities. This is where we fundraise for. So my purpose in starting my business and starting like doing shirts and providing custom items was a little bit different than why you may have started. I saw the need where for parents and people who could not afford it, but they wanted some things that were luxury to them because it was not a necessity to be able to afford those. Like that was a luxury item for them. It wasn't a part of their normal budget. So again, you have to understand your purpose and establish what is the purpose of your business and how much work you're willing to put into this business. I was speaking to someone again on one of my professor calls, and I think we're talking through. I don't know if I was on phone or we are talking through messaging, and so then I was breaking down the price of my current class and the fact that some people say, okay, well, it wasn't enough. It was this, like you should have charged more than that. And I'm like, I probably could have. But then when I hear people say, you know, I scraped together the last little bit I had to be able to take this class, I said, let me just go ahead. And I'm grateful that I did. I can go and say, okay, 100 people join during this month, but do I plan to stop at that 100? So for all the time that I'm spending in this 30 days, now if I go, I did the 30, however many people are here were live, but now I go and I resell that. Is my goal to only sell it to 100 people, to 50 people, to 500 people? Or is my goal to sell it to the masses? So at that price, if I can go and sell this course that I've spent 30 days on, a total of, let's even say like 40 hours, because some days go over a little bit more. So for 40 hours, if at the end of the year, I would have sold this course to 12,000 people, that means I have to put the work in to get this course in front of at least 50 to 100,000 people so that 12,000 can buy it. But if 12,000 people can buy it, from what I did in March, I can make $1 million. It's the value that you put on your product, you put on your service, you put on your classes. How many do you plan to sell? If you're thinking small, you're only thinking about that one item and not your business as a whole and how many items you can make, then you're never going to be satisfied with the money that you are making. But for me, I think bigger. Yes, I only charge this amount, but how many people can I sell it to if my goal is to reach $1 million off of this, if I don't do anything else, and my goal is to reach $1 million at the end of the year off of this one item, that means I'm going to have to work my ass off to promote it, to market it, to pay for marketing, to get it out there, to be live every single day talking about it, being in different groups, contacting this person, sending it to that person, hell, putting it up in the sky in lights so that 50,000 people can see it, so that 12,000 can buy it. And my goal is to keep pushing and pushing it and pushing it until I reach 12,000 people. And then I hit my $1 million off of this one course. You have to put it into perspective. How much work are you willing to put in? Someone can have something for $1. If that $1, if 1 million people find value in that one item that is $1, they are a millionaire off of something that cost $1. Now, will they hit that million in a month, in a year? Maybe it'll be 2 years. Maybe it'll be 3 years. We all have the potential and the power to become a millionaire over our lifetime, depending on the jobs that you have. Over all of these years, if you add it up, how close to $1 million are you? Throughout your lifetime, have you grossed over $1 million? But we think about for the now. We think about month to month, year to year. Looking at how much money my husband has made over the years, how much money I've made over the years, oh, we've surpassed $1 million. It may not have been all at one time, but revenue-wise, oh, we hit a mill. Well, maybe not. Because it was like the time I'm 41. Uncle Sam paid, but he don't pay all of that, when I was in the military, but even check was kind of something kind of nice. So over the time of me working from the time I was 18 until now, we're probably damn near close to that, especially with the money we've made over the course of like these 2 years. So it's all in perspective, um, and you truly identifying what is the purpose, what is the goal, whatever that number is. If it is to hit six figures for the course of 1 year, what do you have to do? Based off of the prices of the things that you are making and how many you are able to make, is that realistic? This is something that I teach in Profit by the Numbers to my creative business students. Let's break this down, and we go through and we ask for volunteer. We break it down. Okay, you're charging this. How many are you able to make? Okay, so you are able to make this, realistically able to make this amount every single week if you go and you work 5, 6, 12, whatever, how many days a week, for 5 or 6 days a week. This is the max that you're going to be able to make as far as revenue. Now, profit wise is going to be different. Profit for the business, and then what you take home is going to be different from that. Are you okay with this? Now, this is all you can actually produce in doing it yourself and the way that you're doing it. But you say you want to make $200,000, baby. You don't see these numbers? You will never. You are setting yourself up for failure if you have not sat down and whatever that number is for the end of the year. First, you have to decide, is that how much you want to just gross, how much you want to bring in, how much you want to see on your Shopify when it goes for the month and it shows you that nice little magic number that also includes the fact that they pay you the shipping, and then you have to take from that money and pay the shipping carrier. So that's your shipping. That's the taxes that you have to pay out to the state. Then, from there, it's like all of your overhead. So you got that little nice little magic number, but that doesn't mean that's the money that's coming into your personal bank account to take care of all of the things for your business. So when you go and you have that number, I want to make six figures. Do you want to make six figures to run your household, or do you want your business to make a certain amount of six, like when it comes to a certain dollar amount? So let's say you want to make 100,000 for you. That means your business, and for everything else, you might have to be making, depending on what type of business you have and how much the products and stuff cost, you might have to make 175,000 so that you can take home 100,000, or you might have to make 200 or 300,000. You may have to make $400,000 in your business just for you to take home 100,000, depending on your overhead and what your expenses are. But if you're not thinking about business like that, you're not being a very responsible business owner. So again, I ask, are you ready for the responsibility of running a business? Because it is a whole lot more than just calculating your substrates and your media that you're going to put it on. Let's see. I don't understand how my post confused you, because I said sublimation shirts or polyester shirts, because I see people saying, oh my God, they're so expensive. How can you say they are expensive if you are pricing accordingly? So if you feel like they are expensive because you can't make a profit, then you are not pricing correctly. I never said someone was charging too much or too little. If you feel like people are only going to say something is expensive because they feel like they're not getting a return on their investment. Purchasing shirts, purchasing sublimation paper, purchasing sublimation ink, purchasing a printer, purchasing easy subli, purchasing easy color print, purchasing EcoSolve ink. Those are all investments into your business. So if the return on your investment, you are not satisfied with it, then you are charging incorrectly. That's all that post said. You read too much into it. But that's all it said was, if you are not satisfied, if you feel like it's too expensive to do some shirts, I need them to be cheaper so that I can make a profit, then you are not pricing correctly. That's all the post said. All right, let's see. You weren't wrong at all. Preach. Tax time is absolutely the worst time for a business and making sure receipts match up. Oh, trust me, I know. Trust me, I know. But and these were mistakes that were made. Like we're trying to figure out where in the world did this $312 came from. I don't know where it came from. It's about to be some miscellaneous business expense because baby, I don't know where it came from. And yeah, it's making it very, very, very hard for that one little thing. And then we made the decision to not do everything ourselves this year and have an official bookkeeper because it's so many things that we are dealing with now. Like our overhead, our responsibilities has increased this year compared to last year. So it's not just so much, it just so happens to be around tax time, but we decided to go ahead and have a QuickBooks bookkeeper take care of all of our book stuff. So they have to know where things are. So they had to do like a cleanup and stuff like that. So like me, when I was doing, I'm going through, I'm like, okay, I know off the top of my head, okay, I just look at the name and I know what it is. So when I'm doing taxes, it's fine. But being the fact that we have a bookkeeper now, we have to pay that fee and they want to be able to do their job. I have to now be able to communicate with them what it is. And so now I just have to make it a lot easier to communicate with them what that charge was for. Because as soon as Even gave it to me, he's like, they want to know what all these are. Okay, I looked at it. Okay, that's for this, that's for this, that's for that. I knew. But now because we have other responsibilities as business owners and we now have a bookkeeper and we have to basically report these to someone, we now have to have a better way of doing it instead of it all being in Shakia's brain for what each thing is. And now my family is home. I was trying to do this before they got home. So yeah, but tax time definitely is not the right time to do that. I am very much so aware of it, but even in my bookkeeper are not. So I always have to stop now and just go and write it down, and then they have to go put in the system. So now we just have to have checks and balances so that everybody knows where every coins went. It's frustrating, but that's the good part about having a team around you to keep you on track. It's not easy when I'm doing everything myself, and it really isn't. It and I can now I have the team of when it comes to like my husband. Even just a team to help me somewhat stay sane and figure out like what classes or what to teach, what, and trying to keep me together on that part and keep me on track. Even when they tried to keep me, to my live videos, my Q&As that were an hour, yet I don't listen and I go over. Hi, love. How are you? How was school? Okay, mommy's live. Mommy be right out, okay? Okay, mommy come play with you in a minute, okay? Go outside. Okay, boom. Okay, bye-bye. That looks like something your brother won and you took it from him. Okay, bye-bye. Love you. So, outside help. Instead of us trying to figure it out ourselves when I'm always doing something, taking that off of my hand. Even's working the fulfillment center and doing all of that. So having to sit down and reconcile all the time takes away from being able to do other things, researching to see if there's a better option for all of the boxes we have to, calculating all of that. Can we, when we're ordering certain things, you're not ordering just for the boxes for how many orders we're going to have for the week. We're ordering loads, pallets of boxes. So that money has to be there to pay for that. The orders that they go in will pay for that box, but the order has to be made first. So there's just a lot of things. So we're like, you know what? Let QuickBooks handle it. Excuse me. Keeping up with inventory and all of that. Hey, we have a staff that comes in and do inventory for us. We have staff that comes in and do that because that was just a bit much. They come in and while they're doing that, we can focus on something else. And I'm putting all these things in place as far as a team because we want to be able to grow. In order to reach that number, whatever that magic number is for our company as a whole, we have to add. Why y'all? Caesar now has sublimation markers. Like, come on now. would have never thought of Caesar being sublimation. It's like I think of them and it becomes all of the heat transfer vinyl. Baby, now Caesar has adhesive vinyl. Okay. Caesar has jumped into the sublimation game because now they have an easy subli. And now Caesar has sublimation markers. Wait a minute. You're gonna have to make those changes and grow. And then now with these markers, you think they didn't bring in a whole new team? There's a whole other department for that. So it's gonna take money to make money. They probably, they had to go through the research and development and pay people for this to now have this product, pay out more money for packaging and this, but investing all of that money, the return on that investment is going to be a lot more because now they've added something else to their product line. That is how you grow as a business. You cannot think for just the now. You have to think long term and what your true goals are. The accountant looked at me crazy when I handed her a stack of income and expenses. She sent me home with homework. So I'm taking care of those, the right way this year. Exactly. How much typically does business insurance cost? It really depends on how much you're wanting to cover. And when you think about like what contracts and stuff you want, because even got ours based off of like a lot of the stuff they said the arena, like having $3 million of not three, it comes up to, is it 3 million or 300,000? One of those, because it's like I want to say it's 3 million because I didn't do any of the business insurance, but of course I looked it over. And then there's like 2 lines, and then there's something else that basically makes it the 3 million. But I want to say, hold on, I'll ask real quick. Even what was the cost for the year for the liability? He said our liability was 15. Workers' comp was that the one that was 2,000 with us on it, or 3,000 with us on it? And then property, a roundabout number.
2,000, I think.
Okay, so liability 15, workers' comp 2,000 to 3,000, and property 2,000 a year. So, all right, thank you, sir. So yeah, it's not that bad. Well, I know one of the quotes we got was like 6,000, and I was like, damn. And that was just for liability and workers comp, including owners. So that was something that was totally different. When you're just doing workers comp for your staff, it's one price. And then when we did the owners one and put the owners on there, oh honey, that number jumped up so high with one of those dang on companies. It was like just for that, not including property at all, was like what, 5,000, 6,000.
It was, what is this, workers comp, $1,200. What was this other one? Property was $1,200.
What was one of the? That's the founding one. One of those, some of the quotes.
What we got? This one with the property with the wind mitigation was 5,000, but we didn't get that one.
And see, we live in Florida, so he said the property with wind mitigation, because we're in Florida with the hurricanes, was 5,000. Workers' comp was 12. Liability was 12, or general liability was 15, and property was 12 on the one that we finally end up getting. It went from 12 to 5,000 with wind mitigation. Dang. So it's responsibilities, and you can't have a payroll without having the workers' comp. So once we went and we did the payroll stuff, because you have staff and you're putting them on payroll to have W-2, and then we have to pay out, like, so they take care of paying out certain taxes for us. Like for every time a paycheck goes out, there are certain taxes that we pay, paying out the federal taxes on that particular paycheck. Like, it's a lot of responsibility when you want to have actual staffing, have everything um be all in order. It's a lot different when you just kind of have, okay, I got a really big order, having your cousin come help you and just kind of shooting them some money. That's a little bit different. We're not fully operating that portion as a business. But when you go and you're doing as a business and having an HR and having all these different, having different things for them to sign off on, understanding responsibilities, like drafting up all that stuff. If you're going to do it yourself, if you have the time to do it yourself, or you're going to have somebody else draft it up for you, there's a lot to running a business. And I'm unapologetic about it. Some people say why I don't like the word crafter, because see, they're teaching you about business and talking to you as a crafter with a side hustle, dressed up with makeup as if they're talking to you about business, but they're not really talking to you about running a business and understanding when you're pricing about overhead. That's totally and completely different. Really, like I said, I'm in a space now to where everything I look at it from a business perspective. My mind is always on business, down to the simplest things. I look at it as business. There is a space here. Now, I kind of peek in there all the time. It looks like it's going to be a doctor's office. That's what I think it's going to be. But just looking at the build out of it, I look at even Damon and the build out they're doing for their space. You go into these, you want a storefront, you go into these spaces, it's not all the way perfect. And you have to pay for those things before you have made 1 red cent in that building. There are costs associated with that. You have to have your insurance in place, because with all these workers and stuff like that, well, it's really, you still should have certain things in place, but their company should have insurance in place, because now you got people on location. So if you're not using a contractor who has their own workers' comp insurance, and you're having other people help you build out your space, should something happen and now you don't have business insurance, oh, guess what? We're out of money straight out the gate. So there is a lot to running a business. A business, not a craft side hustle, not a hobby. If you are not ready for the responsibility of running a business, stay with it being a hobby. Stop trying to jump into LLCs and this, that, and the third, because you are not ready for that. You are still very much so able to file self-employment. You're going to pay a little bit more in self-employment tax versus how they would tax you with having an LLC or a corporation, or a partnership. They're going to charge you, you're going to be taxed a little bit different, but at least you won't have to worry about some of these different responsibilities. Are you ready for the responsibility of being a business owner? So that's my little spiel for today. Okay, so here's the thing, right? People always say, isn't it a write-off? Whether it's a write-off or not, a write-off just simply means I won't have as much of a bill to pay to Uncle Sam. So is it a write-off for your business? That just goes towards your tax bill. But we still got to pay for it. This business still had to generate money to go ahead and, I would say, write the check, but we basically just did it all electronically. But the business had to have money to write the check to be covered. People talk about business, to talk about tax write-offs. Yes, everything in your business is damn near a tax write-off. And all that does is knock down how much you would potentially owe to Uncle Sam. That's it. But to cover those costs when it's time to pay for them, if your business not making the money to cover them, who gives a damn about a tax write-off if you ain't got the money to pay for it? You're welcome. What happened to my thank you? Say thank you. Okay. Back on out. I mean, it's great to have. I mean, this is why when they're saying they haven't paid not one red cent in tax because they figure out a way to make everything that you do a business write-off. I mean, anything that is like anything that you purchase is technically a write-off because it was what was needed to run the business. Now, after all of your business expenses are taken care of, what they are taxing you on is what you had left. The saving, like what you that wasn't allocated for something else. So that's why most people will have things allocated to pay out. I mean, I'm making enough. Yep, I have staff to where by the time I pay out staff, and because I am a corporation, I get a W-2 and this and the third. So I got to pay out the owners, I have to pay out the staff, I have to buy this, that, had to get new equipment. This is why big companies have what they call their capital budget for bigger equipment, and they want you to spend that money. Being in PTA, there's a certain budget, and we have to figure out how to spend every last quarter down to the last penny. They want you to figure out how to spend that when it comes to major corporations. So if your department says, hey, we need this amount of money, so now the powers that be, they're budgeting out everything to say, okay, this department said they need this amount of money to be able to run this department efficiently, whether it's office supplies, is this, that, and the third. If you go and don't spend, because you're like, okay, well, I'm going to save whatever. You don't spend that money. Oh, do you know what the higher ups do? I thought y'all needed this amount of money. Y'all don't need this. Okay, we finna cut your budget in half because you didn't spend it before. So you want to budget out and spend every last dollar that you have budgeted out for your business. So if it takes for you to go and buy, we'll plan it out and plan for certain equipment. That is how you knock down your tax responsibility that you have to pay back to Uncle Sam. Because if you look at all the money that you have made in that first, so if you've never done it before, I'm not sure how you do yours. But see, I like to see it kind of come down as I add stuff. Go in and put exactly how much you made. No deductions, no nothing. Oh, the amount of money you are going to owe Uncle Sam is going to be hella high because you have made this money and it went to no one. So if you sitting on this type of money, we're gonna need some of that. Let me get $20 from that. Let me get 20,000 from that. Let me get 200,000 from all this money that you made. Let me get mine. Let me get my cut. But now when you go in, it's like, okay, nope. Yeah, the business made this, through sales, we had this, but we had to pay for the equipment. We had to pay for the supplies. We had to pay for the tape. We had to pay for the pencils. We had to pay for the staples. We had to pay for this. We had to pay for the marketing. We had to pay for that. We lost money because this was ruined. We just had to go and do our losses because putting stuff in improper bottles burst and a whole lot of ink fell and ruined a whole bunch of paper. So that's stuff that we have to report as a loss. So we have to keep up with that. Whenever we do a giveaway, that's money that we did not actually, we didn't make anything from that. So there's a certain way to categorize that on your taxes as a deduction to knock down how much I owe Uncle Sam. So by the time I put all these things in, I may not owe him $10,000. I may only owe him $10. Thank you very much for the deductions. But I still had to be able to pay for those. You see how that's different? Hey, Octavius, how are you doing? Thank you. Education, you are very welcome. That's why I'm a crafter. Because I'm not doing all that. And my goal really is I would love to be able to speak to and help people with business. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a crafter. I've been there. I ran this quote unquote business or this thing that was making us money as fly by night. Like I can, I did it as I can do what I want. I don't have to answer to anybody. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna spend this money how I want. This money come in, I'm gonna spend it how I want because I had no business responsibilities. So it's different. I started off kind of just speaking to the crafter who wanted to make some money. Now, my focus is helping those who want to establish a business, something that will lead that will leave a legacy for your children. You can pass a business. How many people have businesses like, okay, I'm taking over the family business? Those are the people that I'm trying to help right now. That's my focus. And even in teaching Silhouette Studio, if you can learn it enough, because if designing and creating designs is the bulk of your business, what happens if you cannot do the designing? Are you able to train? Everything that you do in your business should have some type of training manual, so where once you go and you get to that point where you can get help, you're able to train them. What happened, Pa? Oh, you broke it. Oh, okay. Mommy fix it after we get off. Okay, after she gets off. I have no idea what you did to this. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Because you're not going to leave me alone until I figure out how to fix your lunchbox. Okay, I think Mommy fixed it. Stop pulling on stuff. There we go. Mommy to the rescue. I saved the day. Huh? Yes. I'm wrapping up now. I'm going to come and see how y'all day was. I got to go now because I now have a responsibility to my my second most important job. My first the first most important job is being a wife. The second one is being a mother. Then there is being a good Christian and being a child of the Lord. And then it's running this. So I have to go tend to the responsibilities of the second most important job in my life. And that is being a mom. No. I mean, I'm not Miss Cheryl. I'm not saying that I'm not trying to help you guys. The information that I give can help anyone, especially on the creative side. But a lot of what I do when I'm having these discussions, it's not for the general crafter. And I'm not, hopefully it doesn't like offend anyone, or I'm not trying to exclude anyone. If your goal is to just have a side hustle because you're just trying to make ends meet, that's perfectly okay. And you can still learn some things and apply it, but you won't have to apply all of it. My goal in these types of discussions for those who want to, you have no desire to really make it a business. You have no desire to maybe have franchises and stores, but there are people that's their vision for what they have now. I mean, Michael's is a craft store. Why can't somebody else have a craft store that's just as successful? Why can't someone have a clothing store that's just as successful as Nike, as all these others? Why is it that these are just flagship brands and they're the only ones that can be successful? But what about imperfectly qualified? Why would, Shawnee not think about having that brand in store after store after store? Like, how many different stores carry Nike? I mean, even down to the discount stores like the Rosses and Burlingtons and who the other one that's over here? We got Ross, we have Marshalls. All those places, they have Nike things. So why can't others aspire to have their brand be a complete household name? My sister and her boyfriend, Rebel Without a Cause, RAWC. No, I think I'm saying it wrong. Rebel Without, so it's RWAC. Why can't they be just as much of a household brand as any other urban wear? Why can't they be a FUBU, an Apple Bottom? I know those are not around right now. Don't whatever. But someone who likes, to feel sexy in what they do. Why can't they have them, maybe some for us fluffy girls and have it be in every store? Some people have that aspiration to where they want to run a business. They want to run a company. They want to run an empire. They would like to be to where they are like the crickets of the world and they can be publicly traded and come out with $1,000 heat presses and entice people with some foolishness. Like, I want to be able to bamboozle people too with $1,000 panini press and pass it off as a heat press. Y'all know I had to throw that in there real quick. I still can't believe that. But there are those who want to. And if I can help you think about those responsibilities, maybe this talk will for some people, it won't be discouraging. It'll be, you know what? I'm not ready for that. Maybe I am taking on too much and I need to take a step back in how I am thinking about this. So that is my goal, is I want to really talk about business and reach that. I've spent many years reaching crafters. I am now elevating to where I want to talk to people about running a business, about running a company, and sometimes the stress there is of it. I had to throw that in there, Miss Vanessa. But I'm gonna go, y'all. I've been on for an hour. Did not expect to be on for an hour. But if you found value in what I shared here, make sure that you hit that share button. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button. If you are watching over on YouTube, share it out. Recommend this to someone else. Maybe you just came across this and you have a cousin, sister, brother, cousin, auntie, you have a grandmother who wants to start a business at the age of 71, 72, 80. I have people in my class, I have people that buy my products and they are starting from scratch at that age. It doesn't matter who. Maybe they need to hear this. Go ahead, hit that share button. And while you are sharing, also make sure that you go and visit our website, shop.hsinc365.com. That is our company website that sells the most amazing sublimation paper, sublimation ink, and you can find out more about the class that I have. Next month, I am going to do, this month was kind of like the crafter, the creative side. We did some silhouette stuff. I'm not doing a full 30 days, but I am going to spend April talking about business. So be on the lookout for that. Be prepared. I will let you know. You're going to be looking somewhere in the $100 range, give or take, for a month worth of things that will really, really help and bless you as a business owner. And this one is really, I will say, what the things that I'm going to discuss for this one actually really isn't maybe for that. It's like the person that's wanting to become like full on company. But if you're trying to get the most out of your side hustle and you want to know how to profit in the business that you are currently doing and not learn somebody. Hold on. Before I leave, let me tell you something. I will never, ever promise you to give you my blueprint. I'm never going to guarantee that I can give you the secret sauce. Because see, the blueprint to my success, which, I also have a whole line called the blueprint on hsincdesigns.com. We have a whole line called the blueprint. Go ahead and check that out too. hsincdesigns.com. But my blueprint includes the man that the blueprint line was modeled after, i.e., my husband. This does not work without him. This don't work, even though she aggravating is I don't know what, sometimes. This and what I do does not work without my mother, Sharon, because she challenges me. So my blueprint includes them. My blueprint includes knowing what I want, the legacy I want to leave for Makai Jeremiah, even Zion Imani, even. So my blueprint includes them. I can tell and share with you certain steps, but I can never share with you my entire blueprint because my blueprint includes my family that supports me and that who I am doing this for. But I can help and guide you in a way to where you can now figure out what is your blueprint for your success and apply what you need to apply for the business that you're in and what it is that you want to do. So next month, it will be more so for those creatives. I don't like using those creatives who I'm not quite at a company yet, but I want to learn what type of procedures I can put in place to make this a little bit easier for me as I am taking orders. That is what next month's classes, next month, all of my classes, or the program that I will do and all the live Zoom class I will do. It's not going to be anything with silhouette or sublimation. Everything will be about that creator trying to be as successful as they can in the stage that they are right now. So be on the lookout for that over on the website. And I hope to see some of you guys in those sessions. All right. So, thank you. You have given me the misinformation that was missed or wasn't presented correctly. So I thank you. You are very welcome. And I'm going to go and tend to my children now. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.